The Trump administration, the president says, too much fentanyl, too many migrants coming across the border.
But that's not true, because fundamentally, less than 1% of fentanyl actually comes from Canada to the US. Fundamentally, we have a very strong and secure border.
We have a very strong and secure border. We have $1.3 billion worth of investment in our new border plan. We've invested in more boots on the ground, Black Hawk helicopters, and a new fentanyl strike force for the Americans. We also have a new fentanyl strategy. We've done everything that was required under the executive order that President Trump signed. It's March 2125, and a looming shadow hangs over North America. Canada, connected to the United States by a 5,000-mile border, the world's longest undefended frontier, and sharing a century of history, stands at the edge of an unprecedented crisis. The Trump administration has sparked a trade war, imposing tariffs on its northern ally and threatening not just economic stability but also national sovereignty. In an exclusive interview, senior Canadian official and Foreign Minister Mélanie Joly issues a dire warning. This is a battle for survival. Beyond the headlines lies a tale of pride, betrayal, and a partnership unraveling before our eyes. To understand the gravity of this moment, we must turn back time. Canada and the U.S. have been economic siblings since the 1854 Reciprocity Treaty, which facilitated open trade in timber and fish. Today, their trade relationship has grown into a $2.6 trillion powerhouse, with $1 trillion in goods exchanged annually. From Ontario's car parts heading to Texas to Canadian oil fueling American industries, Canada is the top export market for 36 U.S. states, sustaining 9 million American jobs, whether among Ohio's steelworkers or Iowa's farmers. The 1994 NAFTA agreement, later reborn as the USMCA in 2020, further solidified this bond. However, Trump's 25% tariffs, first targeting steel and aluminum in 2018 and now extending to lumber, autos, and beyond, threaten to dismantle it. He argues it's about American jobs, while Canada counters that it's a blow to both nations. The consequences are severe. In the U.S., a family purchasing a Ford F-150 may now pay an additional $3,000, while tariffs on lumber could raise the cost of a new home in Minneapolis by $10,000. Meanwhile, in Canada, sawmills in British Columbia are cutting shifts, and auto plants in Ontario face layoffs. 20,000 jobs are on the line, according to the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Prime Minister Trudeau retaliates with $100 billion in tariffs on U.S. goods, targeting politically sensitive swing states, hitting Kentucky bourbon, Florida oranges, and Wisconsin-made Harley-Davidsons. A temporary reprieve on auto tariffs, pushed by Detroit's Big Three and the UAW, offers a brief pause, but uncertainty looms. Businesses on both sides yearn for stability as a cycle of trade threats has already stole $5 billion in cross-border projects since January. Trade wars aren't new. The dispute over softwood lumber has persisted for over 40 years, costing Canada $15 billion in duties since the 1980s. But this time, the stakes feel existential. The Trump administration argues that Canada's border is a source of fentanyl and uncontrolled migration, but official data dismantles this assertion. U.S. drug enforcement reports indicate that Canada accounts for less than 1% of fentanyl inflows, with Mexico and China responsible for over 90%. Since 2023, Canada has invested $1.3 billion in border technology, deploying AI scanners, Black Hawk patrols over Manitoba, and 1,500 new border agents, as well as forming a joint fentanyl strike force with the U.S. flipping the script. U.S. Customs intercepted 12,000 illegal firearms smuggled into Canada last year, accounting for 80% of Canada's black market gun supply. Migration trends also contradict the rhetoric. The net flow moves south to north, with 4,000 individuals crossing into Quebec since 2022. This isn't about facts. It's a pretext. A pretext for what? The official drops a bombshell. Trump's ultimate aim may be annexation. Though it sounds far-fetched, history suggests otherwise. He has mused about Canada as the 51st state, even mocking Trudeau as a May governor. A hot MIC at last month's G7 caught Trudeau warning Macron and Starmer that Trump is serious. The notion isn't new. U.S. invasions in 1775 and 1812 failed, but the ambition persisted. Canada's 1867 Confederation was a direct rejection of manifest destiny. Today, as a resource powerhouse, Canada commands 13% of global oil through Alberta's tar sands, 30% of the world's uranium from Saskatchewan, and 60% of North America's hydroelectricity from Quebec, not to mention critical minerals essential for technology and agriculture. Canada is resolute. We will not back down, the minister notes. Canadians stand united to defend our jobs, our way of life, and our country. We are not Americans, and we are immensely proud of our sovereignty. Canada possesses all the resources a nation could desire: energy, fertilizers, land, agriculture, hydroelectricity, oil, gas, and talent. It is one of the most self-sufficient countries on earth. Canada is moving swiftly, fast-tracking a $20 billion trade expansion with the EU under CETA, reducing red tape with Japan and South Korea via the CPTPP, and strengthening ties with Mexico to counterbalance U.S. economic pressure. At home, Trudeau is dismantling internal trade barriers, an initiative long considered infeasible, unlocking $50 billion in domestic economic growth. Ordinary citizens feel the impact. Sarah Mitchell, a single mother in Windsor, just lost a job at Chrysler. Mike Larson, a contractor in Buffalo, saw his lumber costs double. The ramifications are deeply personal. Yet, the threats extend beyond trade. Trump has even hinted at expelling Canada from the Five Eyes intelligence alliance with the U.S., UK, Australia, and New Zealand, a move that could jeopardize 60% of Canada's cyber threat intelligence. A U.S. intelligence sharing freeze amid the Russia-Ukraine war, confirmed by Senator Rubio on March 8, raises further alarms in Ottawa. Meanwhile, tensions over Taiwan put $10 billion in Canadian trade at risk. Canada is responding with a $40 billion naval upgrade, 3 new Arctic bases to counter Russia's icebreaker fleet, and a stalled NORAD modernization effort hindered by U.S. funding cuts.
This isn't just Canada's fight. The Pacific, NATO, and the Arctic are all feeling the tremors. But hope remains. 70% of Americans living near the border oppose the trade war, according to a Gallup poll. Citizens from Seattle to Maine voiced their disapproval, standing by Canada. The world is taking notice. Europe is preparing an economic aid package for Canada, and Japan is offering LNG trade deals. This is a nation stealing itself, from Vancouver dockworkers to Halifax fishermen, all asking the same question: why us? We are America's closest ally, their neighbors, their best friends, and their partners, the official concludes. We know that the American people do not support Trump's rhetoric. Many have apologized for the chaos coming from the White House. But the world must understand what's at stake, and we are ready to defend ourselves and our allies. As tariffs clash and trust erodes, a 5,000-mile lifeline hangs by a thread. Can Canada withstand Trump's crusade? From Ottawa's frozen streets to Washington's power halls, from Kiev's war-torn ruins to Taipei's fragile shores, the world watches as a continent redefines itself, one tariff, one border, and one moment at a time.